Welcome back again, true believers, to the thrilling second round of our quest to crown the supreme champion of the Marvel Infinity Saga. We've survived the initial clashes, witnessing some surprising upsets and hard-fought victories as we've narrowed down our field from a mighty 23 to a lean and mean 12 cinematic contenders. The stakes are higher, the matchups are tougher, and the debates are about to get even more intense. Tonight, once again, we are raising the bar. For each of these pivotal second round battles, we're bringing in the big guns. In round one, we're honored to welcome our resident comic and Marvel expert, the one and only Liam Reese. Liam will be lending his encyclopedic knowledge and keen insights to dissect the nuances, celebrate the triumphs, and perhaps even point out a flaw or two in each cinematic face-off. He'll be giving us the expert's perspective on what makes these films truly shine within the grand tapestry of the Infinity Saga. Then, in round two, our very own super intelligent AI Gemini will step into the arena to weigh Liam's expert analysis and deliver its own definitive verdict on which movie emerges victorious in each head-to-head battle. Get ready for deep dives, passionate arguments, and ultimately the AI's calculated conclusions as we continue our journey to define the best movie of the Marvel Infinity Saga. Let the second round continue. Alright, here we go, gang. Another great one. So, we're capping off the second round. This is the last match of the second round. It's the sixth bout of the second round. So, just to recap, moving on to the third round. We have the number one ranked Avengers Endgame, knocked off the 13th ranked Black Panther. Then we have Captain America Winter Soldier, knocked off the 7th ranked Captain America Civil War. Then we have Avengers Infinity War, knocked off the number 2 ranked Avengers Infinity War, knocked off the number 11th ranked Doctor Strange. Then we had the number 4 ranked Iron Man, knocked off the number 9 ranked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then last week we had Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, the number 3 ranked Guardians of the Galaxy, knock off the number 10 ranked Spider-Man Homecoming. And tonight, we have the number 5 ranked Avengers, the first Avengers, versus the number 8 ranked Thor Ragnarok. This will be big because this will depend on who's going against the number 1 seed in the second round. So big things tonight, and I'd love to get right into it. I'd love to start it off. I'd love to kick it off. I'd love to smack it up. But I can't smack it up, Bern. I can't smack it up.
Oh, Maddie, you can 100% smack it up. You just need one thing.
Oh, what's that, Bern?
The tale of the tape.
Damn right, Daddy. Damn right. All right, here we go. Let's get ready for a big showdown from the gang against the resurgence of the Great One. Here we go. So, the Avengers. Let's see. Release date. Avengers. The first one. Release date May 4th. There we go. That first week in May again. May 4th, 2012. Then we got Thor Ragnarok. Release date November 3rd, 2017. Runtime. Avengers. We got 2 hours and 23 minutes. Thor Ragnarok, 2 hours and 10 minutes. Then film budget. Avengers. Film budget, $220 million. I bet a lot of that went to cast. And then film budget for Thor Ragnarok, $180 million. So not too far behind. Opening weekend box office gross. Thor Ragnarok, we're looking at $122.7 million. Opening weekend box office gross. Good opening weekend. Avengers. Opening weekend box office gross, we're looking at $207.4 million. Good opening weekend. And then for the worldwide box office gross, for Thor Ragnarok, we're looking at $854 million doll hairs. And then for worldwide box office gross for the Avengers, $1.519 billion for the Avengers. Then we have directors. Thor Ragnarok director, Taika Waititi. And the director of the Avengers, the late, great Joss Whedon. Joss. Not Josh. Joss Whedon. He's done directing movies, that's for sure. And that does it for the tale of tape. We're going to head on to round one. Round one. Fight! All right, here we go. Round one, we got our expert, Liam Reese here. He's going to dissect each movie with three different criteria. The first one is its commitment and respect to the source material. The second criteria we're looking at is the action fight scenes. And then the third criteria, we're looking at a standalone movie. Super excited to get into this one. It's the last bout, last match of round two before we get into the big money round. So, Liam Leshmize Reese, take it away, Daddy-O.
All right, guys, we're going to do like we always do. We're going to do these in chronological order. So that means the Avengers first, 2012. All right, category one is, did it respect the source material? Did it disrespect the source material? There is a lot of source material for the Avengers. A lot, a lot, a lot. But generally, the idea is the Avengers come together to face the major threats that no one hero can face on their own. And I think this movie is just, it definitely nails that. And we're still early in the MCU, like still early in Infinity Saga too, and you still have like characters like Black Widow, Hulk, Maria Hill. Like there's a lot of hope there, and like none of these characters had been dirty yet. I was very excited to see those characters like in this movie. Um, the only kind of downside I saw was I'm not really a fan of the like mind control. Like they had Hawkeye for a little bit in the Thor movie. This was their chance to kind of like showcase him, and he spent a lot of the movie like under Loki's control and everything, and not big on that. Uh, that's all I got from category one. What are you guys thinking?
Can I ask this? Who is Maria Hill?
Maria Hill
Sam
is
Jackson's right hand lady from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
oh yeah
Colby, whatever.
Smolders.
Colby
Smolders.
Schmolders from How I Met Your Mother. She's married to Taron Killam, right?
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Which by
Taron
the
Killam from
way,
SNL.
I think she kind of like you kind of miss her because Scarlett Johansson's in that movie and she's so hot. But
Mm-hmm.
Colby, that chick that plays Maria Hill is not bad at all.
No, no.
Oh, Robin Scherbatsky? Fuck,
Yeah, yeah.
Scherbatsky?
From How I Met Your Mother. Yeah,
Oh, Scherbatsky
yeah,
would get fucking daddied up, daddy.
yeah. She's
So,
decent.
can I ask this? So a lot is made about Hawkeye and like obviously they play later the bow and arrow gimmick and all that stuff, but they do use his arrows effectively, especially in the final scene because he can like switch the arrowhead and he's sending bombs and he's sending tracers and he's sending all this stuff. And so, but do you think that they, when you say that they, because he was under mind control the whole thing, do you think that they like underdid him as a character? Really?
Well,
Like, does he have more powers that they didn't display? And if yes, what are they?
no, no, no. He doesn't have powers. The whole point of Hawkeye is that he's like, they're there with all those like, superhumans and advanced, but he's like a regular person, but he's like the tippy top of like a regular person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's as
yeah.
strong, as fast, as smart, as agile as a human could possibly be in the
Hmm.
MCU. And just, I think just him being mind control, he's smart. There's more to him than that. And
Yeah.
it just
Who
I'm just
who
not
wins
big
in
on
the?
mind control really on in
Yeah,
any
I
movie, to
mean,
be honest with you.
it
It's
wasn't
pretty
the
fair.
best. Yeah, I mean, but it was like, also like we were for the layperson like myself, I didn't know there was an Infinity Stone inside the Tesseract. You know what I mean? So it's
We didn't
like,
either. Even for
yeah,
comic fans, we didn't know that that's what the direction they were necessarily going to go yet. You
yeah.
know,
So is it the Mind Stone then that was inside there because they were controlling his mind? Do we know?
The Mind Stone was in the scepter.
was in the scepter, was in Loki's staff. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that was the
correct.
Yeah.
one they took out to like give to Vision later.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So, all right, that's what I thought. All right, nice. If there was there anything in the comic books that you thought was missing from the movie?
Well, like I was saying, Avengers is like so vast, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That like
Yeah.
really the general idea, I think they did a good job.
Yeah.
And Loki was a good villain and everything. I really don't have too much to kind of complain
Mhm.
about on that front, you know?
Nice. All right. Cool. Well, I'm good to move on to the second criteria if you guys are.
Absolutely.
Very
Yeah.
good. All right. Take it away, Lishmouche.
All right, moving on to category two. I would say for the most part, the action was like on par with like
Yeah.
your blockbuster action movies.
Awesome.
And I really don't say that in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like when they first all met, I think that scene was really great. Like when they first meet Thor, Captain
Mhm.
America and Iron Man, and like he really
Mhm.
likes that hammer. Then he hits
Mhm.
the shield with the hammer. That was
Mhm.
like a really cool scene. And
Yeah.
then, like the rest of the stuff was kind of like regular. But then once you get to that Battle of New York is like the most like iconic battle. It's like the Battle of
Mhm.
Yavin in Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's like the most famous battle in all their cinematic universe, and for good
Mhm.
reason. It was awesome, but like that whole thing. Yeah, and when remember they're fighting Loki like up in the tower and everything, and he goes out the window. Yeah, great action, dude. Great like blockbuster fucking action movie.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I got. I don't have anything negative to say about that, even for category
I'll,
two.
I'll, can I say this? Like, one of the big things going into this, because this is the first time we've seen it, like, there's a lot of talk always on the outside of, like, who would win? This guy versus this guy versus this guy, Iron Man versus Thor, Captain America versus Hulk, like, all these things. Dude, when they're one, the lines they had were awesome. So when they first take down Loki, when Iron Man steps up, like, Cap was doing okay, but he wasn't doing great. Iron Man comes
Hmm.
in, shuts him down, does a good job with the music and everything. Incredible scene, right? Loki
Yep.
with the horns, the whole nine, right? Then they're on the plane, right? And it starts to thunder, and he's like, when they would say to Loki, they're like, oh, afraid of a little lightning, huh? He's like, I'm not particularly fond of what follows it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Thor, and then Thor shows up. They have the fight in the woods. Awesome, right? He hits the shield, he blocks the hammer and he's like, no, 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 don't block, and like
Yep.
that was great. But then, dude, when they get on the plane, right? That scene, this is when I was like, Ruffalo is fucking on it. When they got the scene when Ruffalo has the scepter, right? And he's
Yes.
like
Oh, and they're
saying,
like,
like,
hey,
when they're
what are you
going
doing
at
over
each
there?
other,
What are you doing over there, Bruce? And
oh,
he's just holding the scepter. Yeah,
Dr.
we we al-
Banner,
we
put down
also
the
got
scepter.
we also
Oh,
got a great we got our first taste, which we'll be talking about later on in this episode, of Thor versus the Hulk,
oh,
and
Uh-huh.
dude.
in the
When,
confined space, which is
yeah.
incredible.
Oh yeah, dude. When he's there, puts the hand out for the hammer, and he's waiting, 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 and last second, and kapow, and then that slow motion scene of the hammer uppercut on Hulk, like that's what I'm talking about,
That
right?
is,
Like you don't need a million punches. One punch made
yeah,
that whole scene awesome, just
you're right.
awesome.
You're right. I definitely should mention that scene when they get that engine going again, when Iron Man
Oh
and Captain America are
yeah,
like
Cap are
working
on the
together.
yeah.
outside.
That part was really
And he's
cool
like, I
too.
think it
Yeah, as
runs
far
on
as
some
action
source of
goes.
electricity.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
great.
and
Keeping the comic thing alive, Iron Man doing his thing.
mhm.
Even
Well,
like the cool scene of like when Captain America gives $10 to Sam Jackson. Like, come on,
Mhm.
like great,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
great.
that was a good little good joke.
and
You know,
I've said it before, and I don't know if it probably doesn't typically count as an action scene, but it's more of like a one-off shot. But Maddie, you and I saw this movie together, like
yep,
opening weekend, and I think we were
oh
out
yeah,
going pretty hard the night before,
oh yeah.
in
Nice.
Roxborough or Manayunk,
No,
and we went
we
to
saw it in North Philly
we saw
when
it in
you were
North
living on
Philly,
Tasker.
but I think we were going hard the night before out there, and then we saw it
Yeah.
in North Philly
Mm-hmm.
when I was living on Washington, 13th and Washington.
Yeah.
But that scene where Hulk grabs Loki by the ankles and smashes him
Oh,
into the ground was one of the greatest in a
the
movie
best.
theater scenes I've ever been in, because the place went absolutely
Batshit.
ape shit. Like the place
Dude,
Yeah.
went insane. One of the most fun moments I've ever had in a packed movie theater with a bunch of people was that scene of Hulk just ragdolling Loki.
And it's
that
the
definitely
best too.
counts. That definitely counts as a good action part of the movie. Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
ragged on. Those are the good
Dude,
days for the Hulk, man.
also people forget
yeah.
too, like this is before Tony had when he gets the whatever from Wakanda, the tech, you know what I mean? Like the
Mm-hmm.
micro tech or
Where
whatever.
he has like
Dude,
nanotech.
Nano. Yeah.
nanotech. The scene when he jumps off the building and it matches with the bracelets and the
Yeah,
thing gets on him, awesome.
yeah, I like
Awesome.
those. Yep.
You know, and like the scene when he sends the nuke back through the hole. I mean, but the best line of the movie is like Hulk really did had a great showing in this. Like
Yeah.
on the plane, he did like Ruffalo played perfection, right? Like even the opening scene when you meet when it's Black Widow and him in the thing, and he pretends to get angry to jump her, and she grabs the gun under the
Mhm.
table, like so good. And that was his first time as Hulk. He really
Yep.
crushed. And then
Yeah.
the line of the movie. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. And then
He
smashes that flying
he
fish
what?
gimmick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he goes a right cross onto a flying dragon monster and just
Yeah.
floors it.
Floors it. Yep. And then like him and dude, even later, right? When it's him and Thor fighting together and they take down the gimmick in Grand Central and they're standing there, he just punches Thor. Like that's the
Yeah.
best,
Well,
dude.
Yeah.
And like he's
there
smashing, jumping from building to building, smashing all the. Oh, it's awesome.
they
Really,
did a
Thor had a
great
great showing.
they did a great job in that New York scene where even when we were focusing on one character and what they were doing and what they were saying, there was all kinds of shit going on in the back. Like you just see
Yep,
Hulk fly through and smash something, or you just see Thor
yep,
come
Yeah.
down with lightning and do something, even though we're
yep.
focusing on Hawkeye or Black Widow
Mm-hmm.
or something. Like as far as a comic booky, like a shout out to comic books go,
Yeah,
that was about as good as it can be for like a, not only the stuff in the foreground is happening, but in the back of the panel, there's a lot
oh,
of chaos and stuff going
dude,
on.
they gave you a great ground floor view as far as like the way they shot it. Phenomenal ground, like you're like from the street view. You're saying, because like you're everything's
Mm-hmm.
going on around you. There's a million things. You don't. They really tied it together well. The scene when Cap says Hulk smash, like so good, and then the final scene where Loki's like, "I'll take that drink now," and they're just like, "Nope," like awesome,
You missed
just
missed your
awesome.
chance, son.
Yeah, awesome all around. Really like so. Okay, are you guys good on fight scene?
Yeah, I think we
Yep.
covered that. I think we covered
I
every
think it
action
was
scene, but
yeah,
the action in
D-
that movie is fantastic.
top notch, top notch.
Yep.
Yeah, ground. Like set the tone too, as far as like, hey, these are what when you get an Avengers movie, this is the level I want. Like this is where we're gonna be at. Really did great setting the tone. Because I mean, there was the end of Phase 1 and going into Phase 2 that didn't start strong. You had Iron Man
Yeah.
3, Thor: The Dark World. Then you got
Mhm.
Guardians, but like going into that round two, like this carried them for a good while because it was so good.
Oh yeah.
So okay, let's move on to next criteria: standalone movie. Go ahead, Liam.
Standalone movie, category 3, I would say that, yeah, Avengers is definitely like an overall, it's an enjoyable film. Like we said, the content from the comics great, the action great. You know, the rest of the movie, like up until they get on the helicarrier, I will say is kind of like cookie cutter action movie, like as far as like dialogue and everything goes. But it
Yeah,
didn't hurt the movie too much because of how awesome all that other stuff was.
yeah,
But it's your good like blow stuff up, good versus evil. You know what I mean?
so
Like
cool.
it
Yeah.
still like very strong showing.
Hmm.
And I don't know why. Like I said, just me personally, and this is in any movie. I just am not. I never will be a fan of like, oh, the bad guys controlling your mind.
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah.
can't they just put more bad guys? Why can't it
Right.
just be another bad guy and not one of your heroes like turned
Al-
villain? It's
Also,
been
like, give
it's
us a
been done to
relatable
death.
villain. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it's been done to death. But they did have a not relatable villain, but Loki. So maybe not necessarily relatable, but he was an awesome villain in that movie. He was good, dude.
Hmm.
He was like
Agreed.
believable. You know what I mean?
So totally.
He had a
But
purpose. Like you knew what he was there and what he wanted to do, and like he, as with any villain that's good, truly believed that like, no, this is my destiny. This is what I'm
What
supposed
mhm.
to do. Fuck all you guys.
what else do you have for this, Liam?
Um, just that, you know what I mean? The other thing that made this movie great, like really good, is that you're getting the payoff for all the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like you watched all those movies before, like here's
Hmm.
your payoff. And
Hmm.
like so you get that payoff if you watch all the way up to that. But I think if you walk into this movie, you're still leaving generally like you enjoyed it, whether you watched those movies before it or not. The action kind
Yeah.
of makes up for it. So I
Yeah.
gave it a pretty strong score. I'd give it an 8.8, for all
Whew.
the reasons we gave. An 8.8 is a really good score. You know what I
That's a
mean?
really
But
good
score.
score.
I just couldn't
Really
get
good.
into the nines because, like I said, some of the I think it might have been like a product of its time. It's been a while ago now.
Yeah.
It's just more
Yeah.
of, like I said, that like cookie cutter action. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Can I
Yeah.
ask this? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can I ask this? If so, say for instance, they kept Hawkeye good the whole time. Like, do that opening scene too. Well, not the opening scene, but I guess it is the opening scene. The scene where Loki steals the Tesseract,
Mhm.
right?
From the
Oh,
bunker.
from the so good,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
good. So wait. The scepter and the Tesseract are two. They had both of them then at the same
Two
time,
different
right?
things. Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't realize
So
it.
the Tesseract went into the machine, and then Loki carried the scepter. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was the stone in the Tesseract? Is that
It,
the reality
Space
stone?
Stone. It's the Space
Okay.
Stone in the Tesseract and the Mind Stone in the Scepter.
Okay.
Yep.
So then, can I ask this? Say, for instance, like Hawkeye didn't get mind controlled and he just stayed good. Is there a villain you have in mind that could have been a good, like, lackey for Loki? Loki's lackey?
I mean, he had all those. You know what I mean? There's like millions of aliens. They could have brought Thanos villains. That would have been a great time to bring
Oh,
like
dude, like
Black Order
more?
in. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
kind
Or
of
just like
showcase.
Mar or
just
whatever?
one of them.
Yeah.
Just one of them,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
you don't need all of
Mar.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just one of them. And, like, dude, if Ma's there, I don't know if they win because
Ma
Ma
Yeah,
might be
I don't
was.
Ma might be
it,
too strong.
yeah, it
Might
might
have to
be
be like
early
Yeah.
for yeah, it might be
Maybe the
Proxima
early
guy
for
with
Midnight
Maul.
the
or
throwing
someone.
hook gimmick or whatever, you know?
The
Yeah,
elf looking
Proxima
guy.
Midnight would have been a good one because she's just really strong and like nasty and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be like a good, that's like
Yeah.
his big gun while he's down there and
Yeah.
everything.
Been like, if
Yeah,
Thanos been like, look, I sent this guy to keep an eye on you and help you, kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, I
What would have
mean,
been smart? What would have been smart for them to do, which would have helped everything out. This is like the biggest Monday morning quarterback of all time. Would have
yeah.
been to use Malachite and then bring him into Thor 2. Like make him like
Ooh,
a minor
yeah.
villain, and then by the time
Yeah,
we
and
get
then
to
Yeah.
Thor 2,
there's your transition. Like he's
Transition.
already
He
pissed with them
survives
and
the
yeah.
attack and he's on the run. Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
he's on the hunt for reality stones because he knows that he knows more than everyone else does, and knows like, oh, I
Yeah.
definitely saw a Mind Stone, I definitely saw a Space Stone. That means
Yeah.
this legacy is real. Now that
Mhm.
again, they couldn't have known at the time, but if I had to
No.
go back and redo it, I would have brought Malachite in as his extra space
Yeah.
guy, and then let him escape, and then let that be your antagonist for Thor 2,
Yeah.
which was going to come very shortly after that.
So, all
Yeah, I
right.
can get
Well,
behind that. Yep.
yeah, I think that's a great idea. Is this good? Speaking of Thor, good transition into the second movie. We ready?
I believe so. Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
do
cool.
it.
So we're back at Criteria 1, which is respecting the source material, and we're now talking about Thor Ragnarok, which came out in 2017, resurrected the Thor franchise, and introduced us to Taika Waititi as a director, right?
Correct.
All right.
Uh
Go ahead, Lishmoosh. Take it away, Daddy.
no, I mean category 1, respecting the source material and you know what I mean, to feel disrespected or anything. I'd say pretty good. I mean, well, Loki's still Loki. He's still,
Mm-hmm.
That mischievous a-hole brother and everything. As powerful as Hela was in the MCU, she's actually even more powerful than that, like in the comics. But she is Asgardian, and really like her story of like being created by Boar and Loki adopting her and stuff. That would have been way too confusing to like do
Oh.
that in that movie. So just making her sister, that didn't really hurt anything. And then
Okay.
they loosely pulled stuff from Planet Hulk, which I thought was really cool. And like,
Mm-hmm.
Korg being he was part of Hulk's crew, like in those comics. And it's just, the Planet Hulk stuff was like, at times it was kind of a tease, but you can't do all of it at once. But it was really cool. It was made you hopeful, like, oh man, what if they do like World War Hulk? You know what I mean? Mm. That's all I got for category 1. They pretty much we've seen Thor and everything, and I think as far as
Yeah.
like Thor and Loki, they did a good job with that stuff.
I mean, can I say this? As far as in the comics themselves, is Hela as big of a smoking rocket in the comics as she is in the movie? Because Blanchett, all timer, daddy, especially in that one piece. Whew!
Buddy, I don't know if you've looked at how they draw women in comic books,
Yeah, I was
but
about to say that.
there
I was
there
about to
is
say
no
that.
there is no such thing as a female non-smoke show
Yeah.
in most comic books. They
Love it. Hey, they know their demographic, Daddy.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then,
they're like notorious for making it like, they're going a little
oh,
overboard with that stuff.
okay,
Yeah.
can I ask this then too? What is Hela's original backstory in the comics? Because I know in the movie she is Thor's sister, that
Mhm.
she's the goddess of death, but she liked killing too much. So Thor's dad, Odin, was like, hey, bitch, you gotta go. And sent her to hell until he died, and then she could be resurrected, right?
Yeah, well, in the comics, she is, you know what I mean? Like, she is in charge of hell and everything. And so, Thor, I think his name is Odin's dad.
Odin's dad.
And
Yeah,
Yep. That's
yeah,
yeah,
and
yep.
Thor's grandfather.
he created her as like she has like she has like a black infinity stone. Like, she has like the powers pretty much of all infinities. Dude, she's insanely powerful in the comics. And
Wow.
nobody could kill. She's so powerful that Odin kills her in the comics, but since she's so powerful, it causes like an imbalance in the whole universe, so they have to resurrect her because that's how powerful she is.
Wow.
And also, Maddie, you know how they talk about, Thor's always talking about the 9 realms.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, well, in the comics, Hell is one of the 9 realms.
Hmm.
It's
And
actually
she's the
like, and
goddess of it.
she is the BSD of that particular realm. So like, we only
The
get to like,
HHSE.
yeah, we only get to like, we get to Jotunheim, we get to Earth, we get to a couple
Hmm.
different realms in the movies, but in the comics, Hell is actually, it's one of those 9 realms. So it is
Damn.
it's a place of immense power. She's banished there, but she runs that shit like
Like
the
nobody's
train.
business.
The trains run on time. You know
Yeah,
what
and
I
she's got
mean?
like
When Hell's in
unlimited
charge.
control of everybody in hell too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
And she has a black infinity stone. What kind of power
She's
does
like
that wield?
like they made her from like a black infinity stone or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
you are going back to like the older comics and stuff, but
But
Yeah,
still,
she's the
like, ultra
personification of
powerful.
she's
yeah.
the personification of an ancient idea. You know what I mean? Like made person, made
Just
human.
ultra,
Like
ultra power.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Okay. Cool.
she's real hot too.
Oh,
So don't
just a
worry about that.
smoke.
Don't worry about
Total
that.
smoke, dude. And then my other question is, what is Planet Hulk?
Planet Hulk is when Hulk, like as he often does, gets like out of control, and the Avengers get together and they like banish him from Earth. They put him in a
Oh,
ship, they send him, and the ship gets like
Similar
knocked off course.
similar to how he gets to where he is in this. You know what I mean? Like
but it
he
was
takes it.
his choice
It
to
was his
leave.
choice at the end of right,
Yeah.
but same
This is
idea.
also
He
a
gets his
phase threeer. So the end of phase one was the first movie. This is a phase threeer, you
is
know?
it Ultron? Is it Ultron where he decides like I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go?
Ultron, he
Yeah.
Yeah,
takes
at the
off.
end of
Yeah.
Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But similar to how he gets there in this one, it was in Ultron. It was his choice. In the comics, they're like, we got to get this guy out of here for a while because he is wilding in a way, and we can't control him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I
he
mean,
comes back from Planet Hulk and starts what's called World War Hulk, and it's just like him versus all, and it's awesome. And I just wish they would do it so bad. And I
wow.
just wish they would do it so bad.
Yeah. And the stuff
Wow.
Lean was talking about that we got glimpses of is Hulk in the gladiator arena.
Mhm.
Like like Planet Hulk is essentially a gladiator arena. Like the planet.
Dude,
That's what he does.
They used to have like an animated Marvel of like Planet Hulk, but for some reason they like put the axe on all that stuff. Like, you can't
Oh,
find
really?
it streaming or anything. Yeah. Yeah, and it was decent, and it like
Oh.
told the story of Planet Hulk. It was cool.
I mean, think about this too. This is phase three. This is during a red hot phase three. Like phase three, so Age of Ultron ended, phase two, which
Mhm.
end of Age of Ultron wasn't terrible, wasn't the greatest, right? Then you have
Sure.
Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, and Spider-Man Homecoming to start off phase three. So
Mhm.
red hot, right?
Then
Red
Ragnarok, and
hot.
Black Panther was after that. 2017 was like an insane year for them.
Insane.
But I'm saying like first Thor, okay. Second Thor, really not received well. So the third Thor, which they needed to do because this is crucial for the storyline, because in Infinity War, like Thor Ragnarok ends and then they go like it's almost like Rogue One,
don't forget,
where Rogue One ends and they go right into A New Hope. You know, Thor Ragnarok ends, they're going right. Next thing they're doing is Infinity War. You know,
and
like they catch him in the ship. Yeah.
We have no Hulk and no Thor in Civil War. So where were they and what were they doing? Like it's important to show like where were those two guys who are founding members of the Avengers and what were they doing while Civil War was happening? Because it's kind of wild that neither one of them. There's actually one more Planet Hulk reference they make. I know no one really liked the She-Hulk show, but I believe at the end they introduced Sakaar, which is Hulk's son.
Yeah.
From he did knock somebody up while he was off world.
Who is Sakaar?
His Hulk son with an alien. I believe that character did show up like at the end of at some point, and I've never rewatched
She-Hulk was so awful. I don't even want to talk about it.
I believe Sakaar shows up in that.
Okay.
But yeah. But
so let's move on.
He was fucking there too. You know?
Yeah, good. I mean, hey, he was the BSD. Okay, so let's move on to the second criteria, which is action scenes. Go ahead, Lashmoosh.
Action scenes in this movie were incredible, I thought.
Awesome.
They had a really awesome movie. Yeah, they did the Led Zeppelin right out the gate. Remember when he's fighting Surtar and in that volcano area, they got Zeppelin playing and everything. And then obviously the Hulk and Thor fight was obviously awesome. Like when he blasts him with the lightning and everything, and just any kind of like arena coliseum setting is always going to be. If you're dudes watching an action movie, like you're always going to like that kind of stuff. And then Hela is like really badass. You know what I mean? Like they always want to have like chicks that are like believable badass. She was believable as like a strong character, I thought. And you know, like the bridge fight was really like when they're on the bridge fight and everything, like when Ragnarok actually happens and everything, that fight was really cool. You get the Hulk in the mix again and everything, you know. But yeah, action rarely are these movies lacking in action, you know, and this was no different than the other ones. Very, very good. I don't have anything negative to say. Category 2. I like that kind of stuff.
Honestly, I loved the 80s feel, right? Like the music, the visuals, like with the colors and the cinematography, and like, you know, the opening scene where he's flying, it's almost like never ending story. Look, like it's so good, right? And I loved how they did that, and they kept that, especially in the opening, and they kind of kept those colors going and that type of theme. Dude, when they got Hela over, the way they got Hela over is she killed his whole crew. The whole crew. And
the Warriors 3. Yeah, she murks them all.
She smokes them. The Ray Stevenson, done. Zachary Levi, Kaputsky, right? Like the Asian dude, smoked, you know, right?
Hogan.
And dude, yeah. So also, I loved what they did because they knew like not a ton of people saw the second Thor in Dark World. So I loved how they're like, look, we got to get your attention for this recap. And what better way to do it than have Matt Damon playing Thor or Loki? You know what I mean? Like super smart the way they did it, because now everyone's like, oh, we're caught up. This is what happened. This is what we missed because we didn't see the second one. Now we get it. Now we're back in the mix. Let's go. You know?
Yep. You know what's also super underrated is it's not like, I mean, Loki has his moments in this movie. You know, this is like kind of the first time they actually kind of start working together a little bit. But I love that the first time we see Loki, he's just been impersonating Odin for like months. That's such a Loki thing to do. It's such a Loki thing to do, to banish his dad and then just pretend to be his dad for months and be like, I don't know, man, I'm just gonna drink wine.
Yeah, he's always such a prick, dude.
And like, such a prick. You know what I mean? Live the high life. Like, I'm just I'm gonna make them put on plays to my greatness.
And
I mean,
are all bought into it. They loved it, you know.
Yeah.
I got nothing to add on action.
What about I did love too Carl Urban's storyline. I think his name was Krang or something.
Scourge.
Scourge.
Yeah.
His storyline, phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Total scumbag, redeems himself at the end. Dude, that guy's got some fucking money.
And a fairly accurate comic character.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah, he
Okay.
was Executioner. Yeah. Yeah. Good
yeah,
call, Burn. Yep.
yeah, pretty accurate. Like to
Mhm.
who he was based on. Like, gets
Yeah.
caught up in the it just wants some power, gets caught up in it, and then
Yep.
eventually is like, oh, these are my people.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like,
Yeah.
They did, I'll tell you, in that arena fight too, they did put them both over as far as like Thor could have won, but Hulk did, you know what I mean? So they put them both over in the arena fight. Also, Valkyrie, they put her over. She could fight as well, which is good.
She's as Guardian, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're badass, all of them.
yeah. Was her character like true to the comic book? Like, they respect the
Yeah,
source
as
material?
far as like a Valkyrie goes, yeah, because there's a couple different Valkyries in the comics. I don't,
Hmm.
I think they kind of just made her like one of the Valkyries and
the
maybe picked
Okay.
from like different stories and whatnot.
they
Tessa
kind of made
Thompson
her
was
like
great
the
too.
last, like they kind of made her the last of the Valkyries, but like the
Yeah,
Hmm.
Valkyrie force is a force that Odin has, like that has been traditionally brutal and incredible, like raiders and
Hmm.
warriors.
Okay. And then, all right, are we good with this criteria? Good to move on?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Uh,
Lashmoosh, what do you got?
all right, for category three, I think, yeah, I like here we are again, uh, action movie with like really interesting categories. Like the story was awesome. I love when it's like you get to see these different worlds, like planets and like their ships and all this stuff. Like Grandmaster was really interesting and stuff. Dude, they had a stacked cast like for the
Mm,
movie itself.
hmm.
And I thought the highest build, like oftentimes this isn't the case, but the highest build female characters were phenomenal. Like they were
Yeah.
believable as
Yeah.
like strong, like heavy hitters and everything. Tessa Thompson, like I think kind of got lost in that too. Just like I was talking
Yeah.
about with the girl that played Maria Hill. Like
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett was hot, but Tessa Thompson is not bad either, dude.
Heck no.
And honestly, just like one word to describe this movie, like even in its most intense scenes, was just fun. This movie was
Hmm.
fun from the time you put it on till the time it
Yeah.
was over. Like it was a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah, I think Liam hit it. It's one of the most fun romps from start to finish. And like the tone is set from the very beginning. We see Thor hanging upside down, talking shit to Sarder, who is a world destroying entity. Like
Mhm.
just waiting for his hammer, spinning around, talking some trash. Right from the very beginning, like you said, we get fun, we get humor, we get incredible action, and then we get some Zeppelin, and then all of a sudden we get the Technicolor Thor, and it's time to go, go, go.
Yeah.
And the movie really doesn't slow down. Like I was trying to
Mhm.
think about
Great
it,
pace.
like as far as pacing goes, like
Great pace.
this one just moves, man. It moves from scene to scene. It seems effortless. There's always something going on. There's always something to do. They take the Grandmaster's ship through the Devil's Anus. Like they're not playing. They're having fun the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Korg
And,
is a
and
great add-in. Meek,
Korg's
you know.
Meek and Korg are great. The Executioner's great. We get to see Hemdall doing some like old school Hemdall stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm taking off the helmet and I'm going to lead my people to the mountains. Like
Yep.
everybody kind of everybody except for the Warriors 3 got their play. The Warriors 3, they were like, all right, we're moving on from these actors.
Yeah. You guys
Let's
couldn't
Yeah.
save the second Thor,
let's
so we're done with you.
yeah, we're gonna keep the chick. We're gonna keep Sif, but we got to keep moving on you guys. But yeah, had I not seen any other Marvel movies before that, I would be very encouraged after watching that. Be like, I didn't get everything, but I'm definitely gonna go back and watch some shit because this was
Hmm.
fun.
Mhm.
And if they're all like this, then I'm missing out.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So, Liam, what's your rating?
My rating for this, and I know I've given a couple movies this rating, but you really can't call it between them. I'm giving Ragnarok 9.0. I think you're right. Like they're not like at the tippy top, but you are like this movie, you're like into
So
that
good.
realm. You're like into
Yeah.
that area of like you are in
Yeah.
the best of the best. And
Mm-hmm.
like Byrne said, yeah, he actually nailed it. I think what makes this movie so good, like, yes, it's fun from beginning to end, but yeah, the pacing, it might be the best pacing in like any of the movies they've done.
Mm.
Is there you're
Yeah.
really never like you're really
Boom,
never
boom,
like
boom, boom.
dull. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, it's real, and there's really like you don't have to do a ton. Like they did kept it fun when they did the story recapping, like we talked about. Like it really kept the pace going. So okay, all right, cool. Well, that does it for round one. You guys good to move on to round two?
Yes,
I
sir.
I just want to
Oh,
say, um, the Avengers. Obviously, if the Avengers doesn't work, then we don't get Ragnarok. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Right.
mhm.
so I think there's a lot of cultural importance there. But as
True.
far as standalone movies go, I'm rooting for Ragnarok here.
Yeah.
I enjoy it more. I find it more rewatchable and more fun from start to finish than I find the original Avengers. That might be sacrilege to say, but I think Liam's
Yeah.
rankings are spot on. I think
Yeah.
Ragnarok is. I think it's the better movie, and I hope AI agrees.
We might get some pushback for this one.
We're gonna. I know,
I
I know, I know.
All
But
right.
whatever.
Okay. All right. Well, that does it for round one. Let's head on to round two. Round two. Fight. All right, here we go. So, round one or round two, we're going to ask AI what movie they think is better, and this will be the last one moving on to the third round. Are you guys ready?
ready, Freddie.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
so I said, hello, Gemini. You know, guys, you guys know Gemini. We all know Gemini. Said,
We
hello,
know him.
Gemini. Can you please tell me what movie you think is better, The Avengers or Thor Ragnarok? This is what Gemini had to say. They said, this is a fantastic debate, as both The Avengers and Thor Ragnarok are immensely popular and significant films within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but for very different reasons. Then they said if they had to choose which movie they think is better overall, they would lean towards, not slightly, The Avengers. And here's why.
Oh,
Its pioneering achievement and foundation, The Avengers was a groundbreaking film that achieved something no other movie had successfully done before, seamlessly bringing together multiple superheroes from separate franchises into one cohesive epic story. Its success laid the blueprint for the entire shared cinematic universe model that dominates Hollywood today. Not wrong there. Then narrative cohesion and stakes. The film expertly judges its large ensemble cast, giving each character their moment to shine while building a clear and escalating threat with Loki and the Chitauri. The stakes felt genuinely high, and the teamwork was incredibly satisfying to watch. Also true. And then iconic moments, from the 360-degree shot of the team in action to Hulk smashing Loki. The film delivered numerous iconic moments that became instant classics and set the standard for future MCU climaxes. However, though, they go to say Thor Ragnarok has its own phenomenal strengths. Reinvigoration of a franchise. We talked about that. Ragnarok is widely credited as revitalizing the Thor character and his solo series, injecting a much needed dose of humor, vibrancy, and a distinct visual style thanks to Taika Waititi's direction. Not wrong. And then unique tone and humor. It's arguably the funniest MCU film with a bold, irreverent comedic tone that perfectly balances the epic stakes. And then character chemistry. The chemistry between Thor, Loki, Hulk, and Valkyrie is outstanding, creating incredible, entertaining dynamics. Not wrong. But ultimately, while Thor Ragnarok is a brilliant and incredibly fun film that perfected the individual Thor series, The Avengers stands as more of a historical, significant, and foundational achievement. Its success was paramount for the entire MCU, and its ability to unite so many desperate or despair dis, and its
Desperate.
ability to unite fucking elements into one compelling blockbuster makes it, in my opinion, slightly better. So there you go. That's AI, and that's moving on to round three, The Avengers. So, round three, as of now, whew, This is what we got. Going into round 3, we have Avengers Endgame, number 1 ranked, made it. Then we have Captain America Civil War, number 6 ranked. Then we have Avengers
No.
Infinity War, number 2
Winter
ranked.
Soldier. Winter
Or,
Soldier.
sorry. Yep, Winter Soldier. Sorry. Then we have Avengers Infinity War, the number 2 ranked. Then we have Iron Man, the number 4 ranked. Guardians of the Galaxy, the number 3 ranked. And then the number 5 ranked, the Avengers. So, top 6 in the round 3, which will be coming at you next week with a new format, new style. Super excited for this. Guys, anything before we take off?
Nope, just can't win them all, you know?
Can't,
I had to
can't
get
win
at
them all,
least
Daddy.
one wrong.
Liam,
Yeah,
I agreed with you, if that meant anything.
I think Gemini's good at a lot of things. I think Gemini has chosen the top 6 seeds in this tournament. Gemini, surprise, surprise, guys. AI, not a fan of the upset. I don't know if that makes me feel good or bad.
Yeah.
It makes me feel kind of scared. They back the winners, and that's what we got going on right here.
All right, well, speaking of backing winners, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast presents Ask AI. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by the one and only Burn Podcasty and the incredible Leah Maurice. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can also on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. Join us on Twitter and TikTok at Working P Pod. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workperspectives@gmail.com, and please like and subscribe. We'll keep bringing you this incredible content. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks. See ya!